5:47. Did you, were you planning to speak? Because you're not on the agenda. I mean, you're welcome to sit in.
No, I just wanted to listen and get
Okay.
a feel for things and,
Wave to the
and
camera.
okay. And I'm sure I'll have questions for you.
Yeah, no, that's fine. No, I mean, you're absolutely more than welcome to
Okay.
sit in and see what we
Oh,
do.
here she is. Hello.
Oh, good. Thanks. We just started.
At least you're not sitting out there calling me.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know which one of you sent me the text, but
I did, but we were both sitting in the parking lot.
I was
like,
in
you know
North
what's going
Carolina,
on?
so
He's like,
so I assumed that if I knew that the building was closed, people back here knew. So.
they didn't send emails
Okay,
out.
all right, my
They might
bad
even
then. I
post it on
apologize for
Facebook, but
that.
he doesn't even use Facebook, so.
So
Not
that's
their
your
fault.
phone number I should add to my phone book? Is that what you're saying? Whoever sent the text.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, all right, I'll add you to my list so that if I have to get a hold of you, we will.
Awesome.
So we just started, so you haven't
Okay.
missed anything yet. Phil Curran is our
Hi,
How do you do?
interim fire chief.
Lisa Hart.
He's just gonna sit in
Okay,
and see what happens.
okay.
Yeah, Steve Lewis. Former lieutenant.
Thank you.
Alrighty, so so for tonight's agenda, we have 3 departments coming in
Okay.
to meet with us to make their presentations. We did meet with Chief Borsari a couple weeks ago.
Correct.
You've probably seen what he has submitted on behalf of the department.
I have.
You're welcome to make any sort of revisions to that if you want, or we can go with that. Or we can talk about it at another time.
Right.
That's fine.
That's
Perfect. Okay, so we are using that as a kind of a working document, and we'll take it from there. So tonight we have the Public Works coming in first at 6 o'clock. But before they come in, just a couple of items from last week that I wanted to update the group on. I did talk to, not last week, it was 2 weeks ago, right? Because we didn't have a meeting last week.
Right.
I did talk to the administrator, Liz, about our question with the assessors, both about they wanted to give a larger than usual increase, and they also wanted to pay their volunteer, basically. Basically, she said no. I mean, she agreed with us, basically. That, in her opinion, somebody needs to be on the payroll for at least a year before they're eligible for the merit. She suggested we go to Wage and Personnel. I did email Wage and Personnel. They said they tended to agree with that. And certainly the 5% increase that they were requesting is definitely out of bounds, no matter how you look at it. So their other suggestion with respect to compensating the volunteer, for lack of a better phrase, they suggested that we have someone from the assessors meet with Wage and Personnel to formally request, because just as we talked about, if they're looking to add a position, they really need to kind of go through the steps, get it added. So this is this is where what you had said.
Well, when it was mentioned that it was a consultant type position, I figured consultant would perhaps go that route.
And it absolutely could. And but if they're looking, my concern, and I think Liz shared this concern, we don't want to set a precedent. So if it's a one-time thing, they're looking to compensate somebody for 6 months as a special project kind of thing, then yeah, you're right, it probably could go to a warrant.
Yeah.
But so that sort of brings that up to speed. Wage and Personnel had canceled their meeting a couple of weeks ago for the storm. Also, they just
Friday they're doing it.
They just notified us, today that they're doing it Friday at noon. So I'll try to get a hold of the assessors and let them know. Maybe one of them can stop by and make that meeting. So that was that. The schools have submitted a couple of pieces of paperwork for us to take a look at. So this is their summary on where money is coming and going. If you remember when John Wilhelmsen was in a few weeks ago, they have a projected surplus from the boat tech line of about $100,000 and also from the special ed line of about $100,000. From that, they are proposing a couple of special town meeting articles that you can see there, the generator that we talked about, and the water treatment system, which they have divided into two $25,000 amounts. The total shortfall was $50,000 approximately, and this is on top of the 135 that was voted at last year's town meeting. But they're proposing to request a transfer from the surplus funds that they have this year, and then they're going to also transfer $25,000 from the school choice funds, which I believe they said they had, what, 40,000, was it? Anybody remember? They had 40,000, I think, in that account.
Yeah, I think so.
So they're looking to, put a majority of that account towards the money as well. And then lastly, a special ed reserve fund is a new state program that allows towns to establish an account to offset any sort of future expenses on a special ed line.
Unexpected increases.
Exactly. Yeah,
Which could happen mid-year if a student moves
right.
into district.
It hasn't happened the last couple of years, but it
has.
has happened in the past where somebody moves into the district and we have to absorb the costs. We're state mandated to do that. So this just kind of helps soften the blow. $40,000 wouldn't go far, but that's basic. That's the maximum amount we could contribute. So we're looking to fund that while we have the surplus special ed funds this year. So those are their articles that they are proposing, and I have added those to the.
So let me just,
Sure.
total surplus $205,000 they
Yep.
have this year. They're looking at the generator project, special ed, water treatment, but then
Yep.
they're also looking to do phone system, professional development, and textbooks out of that surplus money.
Well, no. If you look at it, he subtotals it down the bottom, so he still has 70,000. So the 205 is the total surplus. Then he's reducing it by the
Right?
70 and the 40 and the 50. So he's still going to have 70 coming back to the town.
And then those are.
He listed the 31 as a new warrant article, raise and appropriate for this
Okay.
year. And then the two items at the very bottom, professional development and the textbooks, one half of their proposed textbook purchases, he wants to put into their budget. So those are additional requests on
Okay.
their budget line for this year. That make sense?
It does.
Okay, all right. Now, I had asked Barbara, if we've got the surplus money, why couldn't we take that 31 out of
Pay,
the
right.
surplus? So
Well, I think we could, as long as they get a,
but I don't know.
they encumber it.
Yeah,
So I think if they went ahead and got whatever they need, I don't think they need an invoice, I think they just need an estimate.
yeah.
That they could encumber it.
Because the work would have to be done prior to.
I don't think the work has to be done, I
as
think
long
it
as
just
it's
has to be scheduled.
Right, gotcha. Yeah, yeah.
But, so what did she say about it? Did she
She
say?
didn't get back to me.
Okay.
So I just
Yeah,
emailed
I
her.
think that's the way it goes, and then I guess it would be up to us to decide, if that's, would be helpful. Because the 70 wouldn't become available to us till next year, because that would have to become free cash if it's returned
Right.
to the town.
Right.
So if the budget looks tight and we would rather take 31 more from theirs, we just
Right.
need to let them know in enough time.
Yeah.
And that might be an option.
Or we could use that 70, if it looks like it's gonna be truly 70, we could use that we could transfer it to other lines, couldn't we?
I believe it's that 5,000 or 5% thing between lines.
This is why you can't quit, because I don't know.
But I only kind of know, Barbara knows there's a certain percentage and a dollar amount that you can switch between lines, which is our signatures.
Yeah,
I don't know what that is.
okay.
But I think it could also be used.
But that's what I mean, it's
it could
special,
be
it's
used for
special
any.
town meeting.
Yes, it
That's
could
what
be
I
used for
mean.
any
That's what-
special
I'm sorry,
town
that's
meeting
what I meant.
items.
Special
Yes.
town, we could.
We could put it as a
transfer
warrant
special-
article
right,
and
as
ask
special
for it
town
to be
meeting.
transferred, paid that way.
Okay. Yeah, okay, so if there are expenses that come in
Right.
prior to close of this fiscal year, we could use some of that money.
That water treatment line, I will assume means water coming into the building, not the water going out.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Correct. That is to make the water potable. Finally.
Yeah. Mine was just to keep it from rotting my pipes.
I think everyone in town has that issue. Or they have a bunch of rotten pipes when they get it.
Well, you
So,
can replace them with PEX and it wouldn't,
yeah.
and the acid wouldn't affect them.
So what I did was, and then there was another, he had sent me in a separate email that they have a retirement of a part-time bookkeeper. So that is money coming out of their initial request. So bottom line, their new request for this coming fiscal year is shown there, $2,369,542. Give or take $20. I rounded it off because I didn't want to do math.
With the total school increase of 1.1%.
Total school increase.
Elementary school.
Elementary at
increase.
1 point. But that's largely due to the vote.
Okay.
Right. I mean, yeah. We have been asked by both the elementary local school committee and the regional school committee to sort of give us some guidance as to how they want us to, what they expect us to vote. So I told them both we would try to discuss that tonight and get back to them with, are we okay with the 2.3 as it's presented? Do we want to make some adjustments here or there? And the same with the regional assessment. So,
Did we get more information from the regional school committee also? No. Those numbers are there.
That was their original number. I think it's been adjusted somewhat. I don't know if I have it. I just know that. Is it? No,
That's it,
this is it?
yeah.
Yeah, but this is potential cuts, but then they didn't actually vote these cuts, though.
They voted
They voted some, but not all
some,
of
yeah,
them.
but not all.
So we need updated numbers from
We
them
do
on
need
what they're-
updated numbers, but I think what I would like to give them is some sort of a philosophical. Is that your chicken scratch there, Steve, at the bottom?
Yeah,
Okay. Does it say 294 or something? I would like to give them some sort of a.
294, 748.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some sort of a guidance. I have always struggled with asking our other departments in town to try and stay below 2.5%, including police and fire, and pretty much everybody. We keep it 2.5% because it's what we can do, and yet they always come in higher than that. So I don't know if we. And our assessment's going up this year anyway, because of our enrollment is going up. So our percentage of the overall pie is increasing.
What is their budget going up?
Their initial submission was around 3.97, so roughly 4%. So it's not
Right,
far
it's not,
off.
right.
But because our percentage is our percentage of that 4% increase is going up.
Right.
We're at a
Right,
7% or
Exactly,
6.7%.
right, but they're still,
Right.
so we would, we want to tell them that we would like to see them come in as close to 2.5% as
Right.
possible.
That's exactly where I'm trying to go.
Yeah.
I would like to be able to say to them, because we recognize we can't do anything about the enrollment, and we know that our overall relative percentage is going up. We would at least like to control it on the overall bottom line. If we can keep the overall bottom line to 2.5, then our adjusted percentage would be closer to 5.5 instead of 6.5, maybe. I don't know. Does that make sense to everyone?
At least, yeah, as close to that as they can. I mean, sometimes, because salaries are the biggest portion, and with steps, they usually are more than 2.5%, just like ours now are more like 4.5%.
Right.
Sometimes it's difficult to, keep a budget at 2.5%.
But if you remember,
with the largest
their
portion of
salary line
salaries.
actually decreased a little bit
Did
this
it?
year because they had those she did get back to me on that. I thought we discussed that last time.
I think I remember you saying, we did talk something about it.
Yeah, so their overall adjustments due to retirements was roughly $370,000, and their new projection is $250. So there's a savings of $120,000 roughly in salaries this year from what she provided. Now maybe, yeah. So
Yeah, no, I think that's, I agree.
The numbers that I got at that school committee meeting
yeah.
basically said, it's going up, but it's not going up as much.
Well, that's true. It is not going up as much as it has last year, but that doesn't mean we still can't ask for it to go down a little more.
Yeah.
From what they propose.
And I would assume that Halifax and Kingston are also
I don't know
asking.
much about Kingston. Halifax has indicated that they're not happy with the way things were shaping up.
I know
Either.
at the meeting that Scott,
Steve?
Steve,
You, and yeah, went, yeah.
Kingston seemed very against how much.
Really?
was
Okay.
going up to.
So everybody's in the same boat then.
It seemed like it.
Okay. Good. Good to know. Yeah. Okay.
I believe the exact words that both Kingston and Halifax said was unmanageable.
Okay.
So,
Alrighty.
Hey,
Good to know. So then, I think, why don't we put it to a vote then of this committee, just, sort of an informal vote. I will contact the regional school committee and, let them know that our guidance to them would be to try and keep their overall budget increase to as close to 2.5% as possible. Anybody care to make that motion?
Somebody say so moved. Steve, thank you.
Eric seconded.
Eric, okay.
All's in favor? Opposed? Carries.
We would still like school committee to keep the budget as close to 2.5% increase as possible.
Correct.
There we go.
Thank you. I'm just gonna see
Who are we waiting for first?
Highway.
me to check?
Yeah, thank you.
Highway Jim. My old ambulance partner.
should move over there. So at least there's one
After
seat
I
on this side.
retired from Verizon, I had a lot of free time.
be here?
Wait,
Yeah, actually Tara did. She sent out an email on our behalf with the
Okay.
new meeting
No, nobody's
poster.
here yet.
And she said if there was any, because this was last week when she didn't have internet service here, so she sent it out from her home internet or whatever, and she said if there were any issues, she would let us know. So, okay, well, then we'll just keep talking. So the other thing would be the local school budget, which, again, they're looking to make some adjustments to what they originally proposed. 13.5 for textbooks. They will come back. And if you look at the bottom, it says textbooks 1 of 2, so they need 27,000. They're cutting it up into 2 smaller chunks for us. And then the professional development is for
The new teachers.
the new teachers, right, that have been hired. Does anyone have any thoughts on the school budget based on our conversations with them a couple of weeks ago? Before I say something.
Say away, Nate.
Well, you're not going to agree with me, but
That's okay. That's why we're a committee.
interesting that the second 6 is coming in cheaper than the first 6.
yeah.
Yeah.
I, again, struggle, as I think I made clear that night, that if enrollment is so far down in a particular class, that they don't make staffing adjustments to compensate. My feeling on that is that if the situation was reversed and enrollment was way up,
They would want to hire
you
somebody.
guarantee they would want to.
I don't think they've ever, I think that enrollments have gone close to 30 and they've never asked for another teacher. The same way that it's difficult to go down a teacher, it's very difficult to go up. Because even if your enrollment went to 32, which is a really big class, you asked to bring on another teacher, now you're bringing the classes down under 20.
32, that was standard in my day.
But this class is at
I
8.
know.
8.
Well, no, it's
Well, there's more
13.
in there.
16 divided by 2. They have two classes per grade level, and there are 16 enrollment.
I thought with the school choice it was a little higher.
21.
I thought there were about 11 to a
Yeah,
class.
they could be running into contractual union issues.
The other thing is that in order to make a layoff and save any money, you have to lay off two. If you lay off one teacher and you pay unemployment and the benefits you have to pay, you almost don't make any money. It almost costs you the same or more to lay off one teacher. I forget, this was because school budgets have been really bad in the past, and I know that this was something that was talked about. And the unemployment we cover to cover one layoff, I don't know, I should not even, we should ask somebody about that. But I know that the cost savings is very minimal when you lay off one person.
That may be, I don't know. Again, I'm approaching it from my world, where if I have store A and store B,
Yeah.
and store B is selling twice as much product as store A, they're not staffed equally.
Well, yes, but you're coming at it from the private sector.
Oh, agreed.
Yes.
Agreed. But it's also, and I'm also coming from it from someone who, I'm very fortunate, I can afford to pay my tax bill, and I'm happy to do so. But I also think that part of our job is to give the townspeople options. And I look at this as an opportunity to potentially save the town $250,000 over a 3-year period. And maybe you're right, maybe it wouldn't be that because of the unemployment. I don't know. That's something
It wouldn't be $250,000 for
it's
one.
$85,000 times 3 years.
A new teacher makes $85,000?
The average teacher salary is $65,000. So with benefits, it's close to $85,000.
Okay,
Look-
but you gotta remember there's a lot of long-time teachers, and the newest teacher's gonna get laid off, so you're probably closer to 50, 60 maybe with benefits.
We could save it down 200,000. Again,
I know, no, I understand. I don't think I could, I
I don't
would
think
never
there's
condone
honestly,
going to one
Lisa, I don't think
teacher
there's
for
a
a
snowball's
class.
chance in hell
that
it
it'll
would pass the town
happen.
meeting. I'm
Right.
just saying I consider it.
I just
our
don't, I
duty
think
to
there
at
are
least
too many
talk about it.
educational reasons why it's difficult to have one grade of teacher. Now, the only other way to do it, if the budgets were that bad that we were looking to, would be to go joint classrooms, combine 3 and 4, or 2 and 3, and have
I
3
remember those.
teachers. Yep, you had to do those in the long time ago. Again, it's not an easy thing to do, and then the teachers have to move with the class, and the,
I can remember my kids doing it.
right,
That becomes a management problem.
Yeah.
That's not, you know what I mean? That's not, how they implement it is up to them.
right.
So, that's my thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, depending on how much the savings actually is, it makes sense from a financial, strictly focused on the finances perspective of it. I wouldn't vote for it at town meeting, probably, personally, but as
Well,
just,
you're
as
going to
just
be in the
focusing on the
Bahamas or
finance.
something anyway, aren't you?
Copenhagen.
Okay,
this time.
whatever.
But see, but I think that is part of it. I think, we are a finance
Yeah,
committee and we
probably.
need to look, but we don't need to look only at the financial aspect of it. I just can't look only at the financial aspect of any of these things that we do, any
We
department,
try
not
not
just
to.
the schools.
We try not to. And I'm coming at this from, I come from a family of educators
Yeah.
in our 4th generation. So I
Yeah,
do,
no, and I'm not,
I
you
do
know,
appreciate the.
this conversation's always good. I mean, it's good here, it's good at town meeting, it's good everywhere.
Right.
But,
At least it's civil here. Who knows what will happen?
I mean, if we really needed them to
I'm
cut
with
their
you for that.
budget, I would say you need to cut money from your budget somewhere else. I don't think I could ask them to, I don't like the idea at all of there only being one grade for a classroom. One classroom for a grade.
Okay. What do you think?
I struggle with the argument that they made where, like you said, it's one classroom, you end up with a group of kids that are only with themselves. So they have very little interaction to,
Ways to separate.
Right. And with you're always going to be dropping one teacher as they move through the school, so you constantly have teachers learning a new curriculum. Because I can't imagine it would be the same teacher with the same.
No, I wouldn't think that would be good. They'd want to rotate.
They'd want to rotate. So then you're having, 3 years of different levels ending up with one teacher to have to, which again is a management thing, but I don't know.
Now, if you could just convince a teacher to take a sabbatical each of those years and then have them come back the next
That's that
year.
whole
and everyone
management
do
thing
it.
again.
Yeah.
It's not our problem.
Yeah,
No, this is good discussion. That's
I
absolutely.
didn't,
I mean, maybe there's a way, again, it's a management issue, what's their aid situation? And could, an aide be cut and a teacher have the class and one of the teachers be able to do aid work part of the time and part of, some classes together, some classes separated. I don't know. Again, that's not our decision to make anything like that, but it's maybe a way to try and push our financial aspects forward.
And is it a situation where if you remove the teacher now to save the town, that then in 3 years we're in a different position and it's harder to add that position back?
I suspect that would be part of their pushback. First of all, I don't think we can say to them, we're cutting a teacher.
Right.
We can say to them, we're going to give you $2.2 million. You figure out how you want to spend it,
Right.
whatever the number is. I didn't do
Sure.
the math. And they could choose to eliminate the position, or they could
Eliminate
choose to
something
to do
I think I
an
still
aid
have
or
Mulcahy's phone.
or whatever.
Cell phone in here.
Oh, see if you do, you can give him a call. He may be plowing.
Yeah.
It's too early to plow,
Nothing
but
to plow.
no,
Oh, yeah.
there's nothing to
That's a
plow,
good thing.
really.
The trend would be, based on class size, that yes, 3 years from now we would have to add that position back,
Right,
and I would have no problem with that
right.
because it's the right thing to do.
They wouldn't, I don't think they'd ever cut a teacher.
Yeah,
I think they would take the money out of their budget, and now then they're gonna go to the town meeting, they're gonna say, well, we're not gonna have any new textbooks, and we're not gonna have any new computers, and we're not gonna be able to fix
Hey, Jimmy.
this, because this is the
Steve
kind of
here.
budget that's
You
being
meeting with us tonight in
produced.
FinCom?
Well, as I said, I really don't think it would ever pass. It's town
Right.
meeting.
Oh,
but,
okay.
But again, I think
Thank
that,
you.
I think that we,
Right.
sort of have an obligation to at least present it as an
Jimmy
option.
says he's working tonight.
Well, so are we, Jimmy.
That way Jim says he's working.
Okay.
Did you tell him that means he gets a level budget?
I should have passed it over to you. You're well defended. You got anybody else coming?
He hasn't submitted. We have two other people. We have Council on Aging, who I know they had asked if we were still meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And then Building Department's supposed to be here at 7. So I don't know if we want to try and proactively reach out to them or not. But,
I don't have their numbers. I should have council on aging, but I don't.
So again, I just, I would like to be able to get back to the Dennett and say, here's what we're thinking. If you guys are fine with it as they've presented, that's fine. We'll take a vote and tell them we're good. I would also like to get, and I don't know how this would work, maybe you do, Lisa, because we vote this prior to April. Maybe we won't. I don't know. By the time we get done, the vote number might change again on April 1st because that was their deadline. So, I not through anybody's fault of their own, but it kind of bugged me a little bit that they had in essence $200,000 free cash in the school budget that I would like to try and minimize if we can for next year. So if that 145 is a
I
good number,
can't see that we're gonna get our budget voted before
we're not
April
voting.
1st.
No, we're not.
And I think they do need to know April 1st, so I think that's definitely something we should tell them as of the cutoff date, April
Yeah,
1st.
please
We
get
would
back
like
to
to
us.
know.
Is that
your-
145 a good number, or
Right.
can we change it to 105?
No,
or
they
whatever
could
we do?
have, as of April 1st, they could have
The passwords are
3
changed.
kids accepted into vocational,
And I
and
think
then
that's what
September
happened.
comes and they decide they don't
I
wanna
think
go.
that's exactly what happened.
Yeah,
this
I
year.
think that is what
Yeah.
happened, but we
So.
should at least be able to get an accurate number of how many people.
What the projections are.
Right. have
And
been
again, I don't think
approved.
they're trying to hide anything from us. I think I just would like to, plan as closely as
Sure.
we can. That's all. Steve, what are your thoughts on the teacher situation?
I came out of a one-room schoolhouse. But no, we had 8 grades, right? And one nun.
Only 10 students probably total for all 8 grades. Right?
I look at it from a private sector view that says, like yours, that says if there are not enough students, you reduce it. And my children had split classrooms. My son did, coming up through the demo. But whether you could enforce that now remains to be seen, because you've got teachers' unions and all that stuff involved.
Okay.
Eric, you're up.
I'm tired of you.
So the overall increase is only 1.1%.
Including voc and special.
But it's really 4.9%.
Because we're saying special and vocational are.
They're their own separate lines.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was voc and special included in their cut? Was that one of the items?
Well, they have money coming back to the town
From,
from
Voc and
Voc
Special.
and Special last year that they're using to pay for
Yeah.
the generator, or they're proposing to use to pay for the generator and the water.
How are we bottom line looking? Because the other thing is that it's really hard to say we want the schools to cut their budgets and they say we're not going to have computers or textbooks because we feel there's, the staffing issues, and then we're under budget by $200,000. The towns, it's just not going to happen. It's just not the way town meetings go, at least in the past. Especially, it would be different if it was Silver Lake. I have to say that. There are different feelings towards the Dennett and Silver Lake. And Silver Lake, and the Dennett has always come in close to budget or cut down where they needed to. Sometimes because we had no choice and had to go with the Silver Lake budget, we had to make cuts to the Dennett in order to be able to fund that education line in total. And those feelings haven't, they're getting better, but they haven't gone away in the town. I don't know.
We're at basically $11 million at the moment. Last year's revenue was, and that doesn't include any warrants or very few warrant articles. Last year's revenue was 11.8, so we're looking at $800,000, 869 would be no increase.
So we're,
Our overall increase right now is 6.2%.
right,
Hey, Doug.
I don't know. Nate, throw something out there. I mean, I don't think we can tell them to cut a teacher. How much do we want to tell them to cut their budget down by? I mean, we can't tell them to cut a teacher no matter what. That's not our job.
Right.
But, if we think their budget's too high. I can't remember where the majority of those increases came from right now.
wasn't that a big part of that due to that generator that failed?
No, that's separate.
That's separate, that's capital expense.
It's actually not. It's coming out of the. It's coming out of that transfer money they're putting down. Large
They had a big janitorial.
professional development, yeah, right, 11% custodial increase. But and then they just added another So that professional development has more than doubled. They went from 6,000, now they're up to 14,000. Maybe I misread John's
Actually,
email.
they had, no, it is, because I had written that, they wanna change that to 14,000.
Okay, all right, so that's more than doubled. Custodial services is 11%. Food services is 6%. Transportation's 4%. Not much we can do about that. Principal's office is 5.5%. I don't know what that means. $165,000 of Scotch tape and staples. I'm sure there's more to it.
It may
I'm being a
include,
little facetious. I'm sure it includes this
salaries.
admin and yeah, exactly. I'm sure it includes that. But those are the ones that are larger than say, 3%. Technology,
Actually, that's
7%.
All salary increase. Oh, sorry. That percentage is all salary increase in the principal's office. Principal and clerical increases. Their supplies and travel insurance have stayed the same. Teaching is up 4.18%.
Yeah. But that's all contracted.
Right. What was the amount of textbook money they were asking for?
13.5.
13.5 in addition to whatever
To the
they've got
11,
here.
11.4.
We used to cover our books with brown paper bags.
I used to do that too.
You didn't dare write in them.
Oh, we dared to write in them.
I didn't even open them now.
No.
Online.
But yeah, my daughter, the high school, comes home with her books and they go under the table in the living room, and they hardly ever come
Never to
out.
be seen again.
But they can't buy the books online without buying the hard copies.
Right.
And I'm assuming it's frowned upon to torrent all of them for the whole school. Can't just get illegal copies.
They don't-
It'd save a ton of money, really.
Why they don't offer that as a site license, really? Other than to cut into their profits. You
Yeah.
know the difference between the site license and you license the site.
I mean, what they could just do is just stop making the books for the most part, save cost there. Cut like half of that cost from the digital copies, and then they still make half that cost.
You think they'll head that way eventually, right?
Yeah.
Just from
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
save the rainforest. And all that stuff. Yeah, I don't know.
Do you remember what the custodial services increase was for?
I think they went,
They were saying that the
There was a
custodians doing more than just
change in-
traditional custodian stuff. He's
So they were
doing,
adding hours.
yeah, I think
doing
it's,
maintenance
Yeah.
type
Yeah.
repairs and such.
They're buying heavy equipment for the ones at the high school.
they might have gone from like 2.7 to 3
Hmm.
full, 3 full-time. I don't know exactly how much.
Do they talk to us about
What
library
percentage?
services?
I don't remember that.
I just noticed it's almost 6%. Hey.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Yeah, Jim was supposed to come, but I haven't talked to him. I don't know if the weather,
Okay.
okay.
All right. So we'll table this for now. We'll come back to it. So that's all right. No problem. This is Council on Aging.
I think I'm the only one here in that bracket.
I'm getting pretty close to that.
No, you want I'll be 70 in September. What are you talking about?
All right. So I'm Nate. I'm the chairman.
Okay.
This is Phil.
Yep,
He's our friend for the night.
okay.
Steve,
And I'm, yeah,
Credit card.
yeah, oh, that's my father.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
It's all right. We'll start talking about you when you're not here.
it sounds like
We
my
actually
wife
should have
called
talked
it
about this budget a little
Apple
bit.
things
Well, she's actually going to
based on iOS.
Wage and Personnel on Friday. So.
And not a Linux kernel.
No, I'm at the meeting, I'm in the meeting when you're there, okay?
Yeah, because I assume you're talking about.
I won't be long.
Increases, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much we can say about that.
Not if region person, yeah, right, not if region personnel. That's okay,
problem.
don't worry about it.
Yeah, he had a stroke, he's living with me, and it's really intense. Sorry.
Understood.
Okay. All
So we
right.
left off with Catherine, I think.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry.
Catherine,
Yeah,
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And Lisa Hart.
Yeah, okay. All right, so yeah,
So typically what we do, we have your sheets obviously in front of
yeah,
in front
and
of
I'm
us.
sorry they were late, yeah.
That's okay.
I
Not a problem.
couldn't try
Um,
to figure out what was, yeah.
And then
What
we
was covered by the formula grant, that's why I took off the exercise. So,
The
Okay.
exercise classes are covered by a grant now, is
Yeah.
that what you said?
well,
Oh.
they always were, I don't know why they're in.
Is that the Zumba
Okay.
class they're running?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
actually,
It's
I
nice when we find out these things after
I
the
want,
fact.
I wanted to, I got a call about the Zumba class. I think there's a claim, somebody slipped and fell in the parking lot down there.
Yes.
I haven't talked to the claims adjuster. I put a call into him, he hasn't called me back, but I don't know. I don't know. That's a whole nother subject. Okay, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
no, quite all right. So this is these are your numbers here that you have provided to us.
Right,
You know.
yeah, so it was mainly about, staff.
Staffing, right.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is we'll just go through each one of your sheets.
Okay,
If you can just kind of talk us through it.
okay,
If a lot of this doesn't look like it's changed much, so we probably don't have to have a lot of discussion until we get to the salary portions. So if there's anything on here that you
Well-
want to explain, please feel free to do so. And if any of us has any questions, we'll ask. Otherwise, we'll just move on to the next sheet.
okay. So the printing, and the office supplies, first of all, the printing, I've had a couple of inserts into the newsletter that I've had to put out this year that I pay for the printing for. And also, I actually just made a deal with WePrint and for the same price that I was getting for the other people, but if there's extra, I mean, it would go towards office supplies because there's more people in the office now. I have the one person that is paid by a grant. She's a receptionist, program coordinator, Meals on Wheels, that kind of thing. And she needs supplies. I have an outreach worker that wasn't there last year, that, well, she was, but she was new. And we haven't bought a whole lot of office supplies, but I just figured $50 at least would cover the inserts, you know, for surveys and that kind of thing.
Okay.
Postage, I mean, I don't know if it's ever gonna go up. I mean, it does and it doesn't, I don't know. So I just left it the same. The COA meeting, that's a really big thing. And it was only covered, the amount in there was only covering like 2 days. And that was just for the director. Now we have an outreach worker. And what it is the formula grant covers the meeting. Like I can take it out of the grant. I don't have to take it out of this budget money, but you can't commute. It's like I had 2.5 hour drive up to Danvers each day, and I mean, it was crazy. So you have to stay overnight. So that really is for,
So I'm sorry. Is this like a state association grant?
it's
meeting or
Mass
something?
Council on Aging.
Okay.
And there are other dues that I didn't put in there because I'm not sure that I'm gonna pay them right now.
Here he is.
Oh, here he is.
We need another
Oh,
chair.
that's that crazy guy tries to run me off the road.
That's because I can't see well.
Now you tell me.
Right there, I'm just gonna grab another chair.
Do you have any trees left in your yard at all?
I
I have a
have
huge vine
stumps,
Yeah, no, I've noticed.
and I have a nice cherry tree.
now. So that's a good business to get into, right? Removing stumps right now?
You know what they,
Um,
you know what they
just
told me
going
to, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, we were just going over the expenses.
They did tell me the price for what he did. He came over today, 20 grand,
Oh my God. Really?
so, only 20 grand.
And it's not covered by insurance.
Well, I don't know, I just sold my firstborn.
Okay, sorry.
Right,
My fault for getting distracted.
Okay, so anyways,
So-
we're at the van.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
so fuel for the van, I mean, I kept the same, prices fluctuate, so I really can't even tell.
Yep.
The unforeseen things, those were like just miscellaneous things. I had a printout. I didn't have a chance to get it, but like reimbursements for luncheons or different events and things like that that come
Okay.
up that, you know, and it started last year and then I just added a little bit because, you know, we're doing more now. Van expense, you can talk on that.
Well, the van has 61,000 miles on it now. And as you know, when you start going into a van when it's new, it's not as much maintenance. But now, as you start getting on to the higher mileages, cab filters, I mean, regular Norton tires, we had them done a couple of years ago. We got a great deal from NTB. But everything from wear and tear, I think right now I'll be taking it in for brakes. They seem to be, and so the budget for maintenance, I think, should be a little bit higher
Yeah.
than it
It
was
was only
in the previous
$300,
year.
yeah.
So, and
I mean,
gas is
that
about the
makes
same.
sense, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the only way you could do it for 300 if you and I did it ourselves.
Well, I was going to bring it to you when you worked on it.
I used to work on helicopters.
Well, Mike over with the Volkswagen, he said, bring it on over, he'll work on it.
Oh, yeah. He was at Riot, yeah. So anyways, like I explained about the exercise classes, that's paid out of the formula grants, so there's no reason to be using the town money on that. So I know the numbers didn't quite add up in the middle there because those are the numbers I had and they didn't add up to 5448, I don't know. But anyways, it's really not that far off.
Okay. Anybody have any questions about any of these?
And the 6 is 25.
But your numbers total
Yeah, the-
$6,050.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and the miscellaneous is.
Yeah, I mean,
It's 5%, so that's
Right. Okay.
reasonable.
and yeah, so the thing is about the previous director, she was just here on Mondays, 9:30 to 12:30 or 12 whatever, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know what she did or whatever, but I just know that I've doubled my time, more than doubled my time, Mondays and Wednesdays and Tuesdays and Thursdays now, and I work at home and I do the newsletter from home and I do other things from home, and so. I just think it's reasonable to ask for that, for the added hours. I have to supervise all the programs that we're starting up and everything. So it's just foreseeing the new year, what's gonna be going on. I'm already doing way more than I did this time last year. So, and I started in April last year before.
Troy's actually incorporated a lot of new stuff that we didn't have before. There was a visiting nurse maybe coming over to do blood pressure test.
Yeah.
A lot more outreach, putting people on meals,
The food programs.
meals and wheels and stuff like pantry that we never had before. So there is a lot more time.
Non-medical driving, yeah. A lot of things.
The only issue we have with that, obviously, you're looking for a 100% increase, so
Right.
that's a little bit more than the.
I know, but I think she was
4.5%
a
we can
little low. She was a little low going
Well, she
in.
wasn't, it was she wasn't
Yeah,
paid at
it's-
all, it was
it's-
volunteer
Exactly,
position.
she wasn't
Yeah.
being paid at
So-
all.
So,
But if you
I'm not
compare this to
question-
other
I'm
towns.
not questioning any of that, so
Right.
please don't take my comments
No, I get that, I
incorrectly.
get that.
This really needs to go before
Sure.
wage and personnel,
And we-
and I
we have a
notice you're on,
meeting
I notice
Thursday-
you're
yeah,
on their
Friday.
agenda, so,
Yeah.
so we'll just ignore this for now.
And we were supposed to meet before
Right.
we met, and
Right.
that's why I kept the sheets, but,
Yeah,
yeah,
so
so
we
it was
will
the
defer to
snowstorms.
them,
Okay.
and if they, see merit in your
Sure,
proposal,
yeah.
or something in between.
I mean, I could show you other town salaries and stuff like that, but you would be like,
I
well,
think we went through that last year,
Yeah,
actually.
Yeah,
yeah, no,
right.
I
Yeah,
think
no,
we understand.
Trust me, we really do.
We understand, it's
But,
just for that
we're
kind of an
also-
increase, we need wage and personnel's input.
right,
Right.
and and I also, like I said, I got a receptionist full-time, from a grant. She's here every day, so But anyways, okay,
Great.
we'll move on to Jim.
Okay,
Me,
it's all Jim's fault.
Okay, yeah, so Jim, he's doing more than medical visits. He does outreach, he goes, delivers the newsletter to the printer and brings it back. When he's down there, he kinda multitasks and, helps out with the assisted, devices and anything he can do. With the food, and all that kind of stuff. So he's added to his hours when he's only supposed to have 25. And he was getting in trouble for doing more than 25 before.
I've always worked 30 to 35 hours,
Right.
sometimes 40 hours a week.
Right.
If somebody asks me something that they have to go to a doctor and then other times it comes up the day before, I can't tell them no. I mean, how else are they going to get there?
Right.
So, I mean, and I have an appointment, I call them up, I find out they're in the hospital. So yesterday I went down to visit the person I was supposed to take to a doctor's, he was in the hospital. So,
He goes to
there's
the
a-
hospital, he goes to the rehabs, he goes to, yeah.
the people,
so-
we have wonderful people here in Plympton, we really do. And I just can't say no, but I've always been used to, I've been here almost 4 years. I've always worked, I can't put down more than 25 on the pay sheet because they got mad at the director for me doing that, or at her doing that. So, but my worksheets,
That was an issue last year when I started.
but if you look at my worksheets, you see quite a bit more hours than 25 hours. Sometimes I don't get home
And
till 8 o'clock
and he
at night.
goes on weekends, he goes to funerals,
Oh.
wakes and everything else. But I know that's not part of his job description, that type of thing, but it does connect it all together. The thing is, I just think that he needs that extra time, because it helps us out. I mean, he just went to a residence today with myself and my outreach worker. And, we kind of felt safer with the man with us, I hate to say it, because we didn't know what to expect. But we were very delighted to find the situation we did. But, it's kind of good to have him doing that extra. And,
So I assume his, that clerk position is hourly in the wage and personnel list?
Right.
And
Yeah.
the increase should still be within their
Yeah.
range? It's just the number of hours you're looking for the extra
Right.
5 hours.
Do you know what the hourly rate is? Do you know what your hourly rate is currently?
It's 16.90 something.
1696.
I can give you what the weekly pay is, and if you divide that by 25, that will give you the exact. I take, my gross pay is 423, and so divide that by 25. I think it comes out to 16.90, I think.
1692.
There you go, yeah. So, anyways, that's the whole thing.
Do you have any questions for me as to what I do, or why I do it, or how
And
I do it?
he tries to keep it to medical visits, and we have been getting, we do have a volunteer non-medical driver that does things, because I can't add to his hours,
I mean, I know that it's a large senior population in the town, and I would never question what you're doing, because I'm sure you're doing, I know, we've heard it from other people, when Tricia was doing it, all the extra hours, and people calling it all times of the day and of the week.
Did,
On the weekends,
did
everything.
we increase you last year? I don't recall.
Not hours.
Not
I got
hours.
a, I got
I know there was some sort of a discussion last
I got
year.
a rate,
Well, that was
pay
a
raise.
Yeah.
stage raise.
Yeah.
Step raise,
Okay, right.
yeah.
There wasn't anything more, okay, I thought
No.
we did.
Yeah, I think he went from 21 to 22 last year.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah,
guess I could-
yeah.
There's a lot of new clients. I mean, I do.
No,
I have a great
yeah,
deal more
yeah.
clients than I did when I started.
Yep,
Yeah.
okay. So then you're proposing a new position here as well, for the
so-
senior aide?
Yeah, so the senior aid outreach worker, she's been paid for the last year through the grant, the formula grant. I can't afford to, the formula grant's only $5,800 for the town because there's only 800 seniors. So that's all we get is $5,800. So I can't use the whole grant on her because I have to use it for programs and, different things. So I was asking to match that. Because she goes out, she's here as well, and not just 3 hours on Mondays and Wednesdays. She's here for like 5 hours. She takes calls on the weekends and whatnot like I do. And she visits people when Jim tells us when they get out of the hospital and rehab. She outreaches to people and she does a lot of stuff, and she's very experienced. She knows what she's doing, so.
So she's currently an employee of the town, or is she paid some other
She's
way?
paid through the formula grant, which is a grant for the Council on Aging. We get.
But does the town cut her a check? Is she
No.
listed? Okay.
Well, yes, the town does, but it's from that grant money.
Right, but she's still an employee of the town.
She's still an employee of the
She
town.
works for the town of Plympton.
So
Right,
her
taxes
position-
are out. Yeah,
Her
yeah, yeah,
position
yeah.
is already established, is
Right.
where I'm going with that.
But
so
she
it's
literally gets like $111 a month. And she works like every week, all week, you know what I mean? And it's just ridiculous amount of money. But because we don't have enough seniors in the town, but she's outreaching and doing all this work, and she's very experienced. It's not like she's like fumbling and, she was the outreach worker for Halifax for like 21 years or something like that. So she knows what she's doing, and
Yeah, I don't doubt any
Yeah.
of that. I'm just trying to figure out logistically what we need to do as a committee to try and get you this money. So if she's already established
Yeah.
as an employee of the town,
Yep.
her position's already created. We
It
don't
is.
need to go to wage and personnel and create a new position.
I don't know
think
about
they-
that.
Or do we?
I think you do, because,
I don't have the last year's wage and personnel.
because-
Do we have the list of last year's wage and personnel?
I don't remember
I don't-
seeing that.
That's
on
why
the
I
warrant.
wanted
Do
to
we have
meet
a
with
whole
them
Yeah.
before
budget
here.
warrant?
But no, Barbara did point this out to
Last
me.
Yeah.
The senior aide position, in fact, he's supposed to be
Okay.
called the senior aide. He's supposed to be called the senior aide, but he's called the clerk only because that's a, not a
Better-
salaried
better
position.
Give me a junior clerk.
No, I hate to use that word clerk, but it's because it's a, hourly position.
Right.
And hers is salary,
It's stipend.
and it is in the thing, there is a position there,
Okay.
so. But,
So the $3,400 that you're not,
24.
I thought you said we get 58 total.
Oh, for the grant, but
Yeah.
that covers a lot of stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So she gets 2,400 from the grant, that's 5,800, and we're asking for the town to match that, so that she can get a decent,
But this year is the full 5,800 going towards her?
well, what happened no.
I guess what's the
How much,
no,
what is she
no.
being paid this
Yeah, what's
year?
the
Just
total amount she gets
2,400?
paid?
She gets
This year?
paid 200 a month,
$2,400.
2,400. Okay.
right,
So this year she's just being paid,
from
So
the
none
grant.
From
of
the
the grant
grant.
money's going towards her then?
no, 2,400 is going towards her.
2,400 is.
All right, I'm confused.
She's getting $200 a month this year that's being
Right.
paid from the grant. So $2,400 is
So why
being
is it
paid from
showing
the
up on our
grant.
budget then if the grant's getting it?
This year, they're looking to double her pay. So she'll get 2,400 from the grant and 2,400 from the town.
She's
She's asking the town
I
to
don't know
match
why
that
it shows
money.
up on the budget, because like I said, it's grant money, so I don't know how that works.
No, it wasn't on the budget
it wasn't on
before.
the
Oh, okay.
That's why we were
Okay.
asking if it was really a position
Okay.
before, but she
No, it
was
wasn't.
being paid by the town, but using grant money.
Right,
Okay.
So it was a no factor.
I know, it's confusing, but
So,
I.
okay, so
I-
she gets a stipend of currently $2,400. We're looking to increase the stipend to $4,800.
Right, and of that, half will
Of
be
that,
paid
half
from
of
the
that will
grant
come out of the,
Out of the budget.
and
out
half
of
from
the
the
budget.
budget.
okay. I still think that's a wage and personnel question.
It is,
Yeah.
and that's why I wanted to meet with them first, and because of
Okay.
the snowstorms, we couldn't, but,
Yep.
Friday we'll have that squared away, so.
Okay.
At noon.
By Friday, I'll forget
Yeah.
this discussion, so you'll have to remind me again.
Aren't you
Okay.
taking notes?
Yeah, so just if you'll send us like an email or something.
Oh, sure,
send it-
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Let them know.
Yeah, so.
And so I think this is just a summary sheet of
Yeah,
the
exactly,
three previous
yeah.
sheets, so it just kind of tolls the four.
I mean, I hope I did it right.
Yeah, no, that's fine, that's fine.
So,
So their total, they're
Well.
part of this whole larger group.
oh yeah, last
They're
year
part of
was-
the whole general government thing. So you're looking at, 100% in the stipend.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it's all staffing and it's
I know,
all,
it
Right.
looks like
it's
that.
all contingent on what,
Wage and personnel, yeah.
what wage and personnel's
Okay.
gonna say. So I don't know if we really have much to talk about here
Okay.
tonight. No, I mean, thank you for coming in, don't
No,
get me
but
wrong.
I mean, I'm
But,
glad
you know,
I
I
could
think we have
explain
to-
it, because I know it was kind of confusing,
Yeah.
and that, that's
Yeah.
why I had a hard time putting it down on paper.
Right.
So,
Yep.
but yeah, and the more programs we introduce, the more things we put out there, the more seniors we attract, the more word gets out and people are calling us, they're coming in and
Sure.
they, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And we just have to accommodate that, and we have to foresee what's gonna happen in the new, you know, next year, you know, so.
Another thing is, it's not just we only have 800 seniors. That's 1/3 of our population of Plympton.
Exactly, yeah,
Right.
well, 33%, yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Yep.
30%.
That's strange. I'm one of
It
them,
is
but I don't
30%.
consider myself one of them.
My father-in-law is 88 and he doesn't consider himself one either.
either.
But if you were
So-
going for cataracts, you would have to have either somebody drive you.
Yeah, my wife's gonna drive me next week.
Well, well, that's what I'm getting at. I have a lot of people.
That could help you see too.
It's easier for me to go by
How many
prayer.
clients do you have? How many clients?
Well, we have a lot more than.
How many seniors, like?
Seniors is 800, so it's 30% of the population. And he's got clients all coming in all the time, and we have people calling all the time, which we consider clients. I mean, Joyce, they're,
How do you schedule? I mean, is it just
I do all the scheduling. Or the vehicle maintenance also.
well, that's transportation, but there
I-
also is other needs.
When I
yeah.
take them to a doctor's appointment, what I do is I will be there like when they leave the doctor. I will make the next appointment for them, and I have my actually my diary.
Oh, so
So
you make,
if
help,
you-
you
right.
make the appointments.
Yeah,
Where I
with
make
them.
all
and
the
that's-
appointment, and I call them the day before to make sure, because some of them forget that they have an appointment. Especially if I have one that has one, then 3 months later they have one.
Yeah.
I have one that has 3 times a week.
Yeah.
I'm taking it to dialysis. So snowstorms and everything, I make sure I get the van and take
And
it to
I'm a
dialysis.
caregiver as well, and that system works, believe me, because otherwise you got a mess of appointments and overlapping and, you know, conflicts and everything else.
It does happen
So-
sometimes where somebody saw a doctor,
Mm-hmm.
I took them, and now they don't feel well. So they call up Dr. Chapman and says, instead of their appointment being next week or the week after, I gotta come in tomorrow or
Yeah.
the next day. So I have to try and, when can I get them there?
Finagle
So,
stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Yeah, so it's, and then, in addition to transportation and medical, there's people without licenses. I mean, every
Right.
day they're losing their licenses and they're like, how do I get to the Walmart or this and that? So we're getting volunteers all the time, we're advertising for volunteers, trying to get them to Walmart or, you know, their hair appointments or even social visits. And then also they call for fuel assistance or help with a housing application or, you know, so many different things. I mean, there's just so many different things. And we're trying to keep track of it all because I need that information for the formula grant. So now that we have the girl in the office, we're really, you know, keeping track
Yeah.
of it all.
So you have yourself and Jim, obviously, and then you have the receptionist in the
Yeah.
office, and then is she the person the $2,400 person or
No.
No, she's paid by the state.
I just got to take a break. I think.
No, she's paid
I
by
knew
the
it was
state.
So your clerical person's paid by the state.
Right, she's 20 hours a
you
week,
got
$11 an hour by the state.
So
She
we have
doesn't get paid by us.
Four paid people total, including yourself and the reception.
Well,
One
No,
paid
the
by
the
the state.
reception's not paid by us.
No, I know.
but
I'm just saying.
Three.
Three.
No, three. Otherwise, we have volunteers.
No, the outreach worker,
Outreach, Jim and me.
Jim and you, and
And
the,
then
Secretary.
I'm calling the secretary.
Who's
paid by the
Even-
state,
I know
but
we're
she's
not-
still
I know
Okay,
we're not-
yeah.
I'm just trying to get
Right,
a handle
right,
on staffing in general. Okay.
Well, we have Meals on Wheels starting Monday. And so she's gonna be doing Meals on Wheels. We also have volunteer drivers.
Right.
So there's a lot to coordinate.
yeah, believe, we're not saying,
I'm
we
not-
appreciate the work you're doing
yeah.
and realize that, you
Yeah.
know, we probably could give you 3 times as
But I
much the
know it
budget and
sounds
you'd
like a
find
lot of
a
staff-
good way to put it towards the town.
I'm just trying
Right.
to
We're
get,
just trying to
But
get a
I know it
handle
sounds
on
like
it.
a
Trying to
lot
get
of
a handle on
staff
stuff,
for
that's
no
all.
senior center. We can't even call ourselves a senior center yet because we only have a space. So we still call, you know, it's council on aging, but the thing is, with all the programs that are going on and what we're trying to institute and all that kind of stuff, it's a lot of coordinating and it's a lot of, you know, calling out, you know, bringing people in and looking for their needs and all that kind of stuff, you
Yep.
know, so.
Excellent.
okay. Does anyone have any questions for Joe or Jim?
I thought they were just another pretty faces. I didn't even know what these guys were doing here.
I do nothing.
Strictly window dressing. That's the only reason we brought
I
them
said the
in.
3 of them are just sitting there
I
with the
still have
shaking
no
their
idea why
head.
he's here.
I know. I'm just trying to figure things out.
Okay, so I know I interrupted them in the middle of their
No,
thing.
no,
I
no,
thought it
no,
was
sorry.
6:30.
Thank you for coming in.
No, thank you very
Appreciate
much
you
for
coming
being
on.
here and for all you do. We
Happy
really do
night.
appreciate
Thank you.
Would
all.
it do any good if I told you I had confined space training
That'd be awesome.
down in Boston?
Would it do any good if I taught you had all the training?
Yeah,
I had all the training.
Except I'm too old.
yeah.
Minor detail.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Detail.
See you out on the
All
road.
right,
you.
are there
Thank
any
you both.
final questions for any?
I don't think so.
I think we're good.
I don't
Thank you
think-
very
Just
much.
please kind of let us know how you,
I
I
will.
actually
I'll
plan on
definitely-
attending Wage and Personnel
Oh, good.
if I
Okay.
can,
Yep.
depending
But if
on
you
what my
don't,
schedule
yeah,
looks like
I'll
Friday.
definitely email you.
But yeah, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
As always, mine's open.
Yeah, well, if you want to go, it's noontime on Friday.
Up here.
Must be nice to be able to schedule meetings at noon on
I
Friday.
know, really.
Yeah, so if, Steve, if you want to go, that would be great.
Okay.
I'll try to, would like to go, only because I've never been to one, I want to kind of see what goes on. So,
Oh, wait a second, I can't go.
okay,
We're going up to see the granddaughter.
more important.
Yes.
All right, so
Especially
now
my wife.
we're waiting on building. I don't know if he's here, but
Oh, let me just double check. Make sure. Nobody else here?
so the discussion that we were just having, as far as and this comes into play with pretty much everybody that we've had a discussion about, because everybody's looking for more hours, right? I mean, it's almost every department is coming in here and they want to get a couple extra, I mean, including yours.
Yeah.
We thought you, like, you know, we made it for the first thing.
So, I had a discussion with Liz the other day, and I told her that I thought that maybe what would be a good practice for us to adopt this year would be to kind of keep the staffing, the hours level with this year until Liz can get a handle on where everybody is, you know, who's got what for assistants, who's got what for clerks and all of that. I was just saying, this came out of my discussion, I meant to say this earlier and I forgot, but I was reminded when Joy was talking. You know, maybe this is a different example because it's responding to need, you know, and driving. I mean, that might be considered different. But I'm thinking of, you know, forgive me, but, you know, the fire assistant is currently at 16 and we want it to go to 19 or 20. So maybe this year we keep it at 16 until we get a handle on it, what's exactly involved in the job description. And Liz wants to kind of, you know, she's obviously still getting used to the town and getting used to her responsibilities and who she's overseeing. And so, you know, she and I sort of came to that, I said I would discuss it with the committee, so I'm open to, you know, your
That
thoughts
makes
on that.
sense.
You know, obviously the 4.5% is fine, you know, but as far as maybe any hours increases, we'll sort of, you know, table those this year until we get a better handle on things, or Liz gets a better handle on things and she can deal with them next year. So,
What other, I mean, that's something to, yeah, I mean, we'd need to go through then and decide if whose budgets we're gonna cut.
well, yeah,
from
as
what
we go
we've-
through each, each department, you know,
Right.
we'll revisit the different ones. And again, maybe this one's an exception because it's responding to requests for doctor's appointments and such. Maybe we make an exception for that one, maybe we don't, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe we
But
can
I-
have,
but
and if Liz is in on that discussion too, when we get to that point, she may have some input from right now.
Absolutely, right.
Right.
She'll obviously be participating in those discussions. I'm thinking to the discussion we had a couple weeks ago with the assessors, where they wanted to increase the hours by 25%. They really couldn't justify it, in my opinion. So I think that's a classic case of let's keep them where they are until we figure out, is there a need? If there is a need, is it supported? And we'll weigh in on that. So. Okay. Good. So yeah, so I think as we go through, you know, we'll go through each section of the budget after this week. This is our last group of departments. So.
Except for highways, we gotta come back.
Well, no, yeah, but after, well, yeah.
We'll have another snowstorm next week.
I think at this point we'll just.
They haven't actually given us a budget, have they?
They gave us the majority of their budget. We don't know what Jimmy's salary is. Everything else they increased by, they either kept level or they increased it by the 2.5%. But we don't know what his negotiated salary is. And we don't know what the transfer, because there's some things that were under negotiation, but as far as the overall department expenses, we have an idea on those things.
Last year, didn't they wanna like change a bunch of positions?
They
to
did.
different Positions?
They did. That was the highway labor, yeah, if you look at the increase, between 17 and 18 over here, so they went from 130 to 158, 159.
Yep.
That takes into account that they reclassified a bunch of people.
They took General Highway from 107 down there.
Yeah, I think,
They get more cherry sheet stuff?
I forget what the reason for that
No,
is.
it might be,
I think
we moved
we moved
equipment
something
and
out of there.
maintenance out.
Yeah,
Oh, right,
yeah.
and put it in another spot.
We moved more we moved some of the equipment and
And
maintenance.
I think there was some overtime that was back here that
Some
we pulled
salary
out and we
stuff.
put it up to
Yep.
salary.
Yeah.
So that's now represented in this 165. I think that's what it is. Yeah, Colleen and I discussed it, but that was like 6 weeks ago, so I don't remember what that was. So, noticing a trend here.
Before,
I'm in the same boat.
before she had her knee done.
Did she ever need that? Oh, that's
Yeah,
right, she did. Yeah,
yeah.
she was going in. Okay. Do we want to go back to the schools, or do we want to? Are we just trying to pull a number out and see what we think, or do we want to approve what they?
You guys,
You're fine with it the way it is.
I'm fine with the way it is.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm fine with the money they're returning and an overall 1.1%. I know it's from vocational and it's special education, which all used to be in one line. The reason we broke it out was because so many times those go up. But that's me. But that's just me. You guys, whatever you think. I mean, we can vote on it, and I've never not been able to be convinced of something or at least willing to listen.
Again, I just thought it was worthy of discussion. That's all. I don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no.
You know, I'm not set in stone one way or the other.
I agree with Lisa.
You're good? Okay.
Yes.
I'm fine. I mean, I think if vocational wasn't going down a bunch, it would be a bit more.
And I think that there are years when maybe I wouldn't feel as comfortable, but I feel like this year we're going to be able to make
We don't seem.
we're not looking to be cutting all departments. Nobody's cut. Most departments haven't come in level. They've all come out some kind of increase. And actually, if you look at them, probably a lot of them are over 2% this year.
Yes. I guess I was looking at it as a somewhat unique situation
With the teacher.
to take advantage of, because it won't be there. It won't always be there, and maybe 3 years from now, we'll be looking to make a cut, and we won't have the opportunity to make a cut.
Well, the fact of the matter is, though, at that point, the same thing which would happen here is I don't believe they would cut a teacher. I think that they would probably take it out of other things.
I'm sure they would. I'm sure they
Which
would.
is what will have to happen when the years that we do have to make a cut.
Okay, in that case, somebody make a motion to approve the local school budget as presented.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
I
Aye.
Opposed? No. Passes 4-1.
Okay, that's fair.
Well, you're here. You want to talk about yours? Or at least look at it?
Yeah, that'd be good. And I can get a handle on it, because I don't see a lot of things here, but
So,
it's a couple of years since I had to do a budget.
that one we can skip because we don't know what they negotiated with you and we don't care.
Oh, we do. We're gonna have to have a number in here.
We'll figure it out at some point, but we don't need to go there today.
gonna be the bargain of the year.
So if you're acting chief, why are you still wearing them captain's hose?
They didn't have any white shirts yet.
Oh,
These don't mean anything.
oh, I think I got
It's
one.
all in here. As long as I can keep the department in one piece, I'm happy.
Well, yeah, that'll be a challenge, no doubt.
Yes.
Actually, it's not as much as you think.
I'm sure the department's okay. I do.
Yeah, the
but it-
department's at or better than it has ever been
Yeah,
right now. And
I used to get $25 a day to stand by all day. For
I know. I looked at some of them and I was scared.
We were BLS then.
Yeah. Well, we're pretty much. Yeah, actually, in the last couple of weeks, I've been running all medics, no basics,
That's
because I've
good.
had them.
That's great.
So that's it.
So,
Okay.
the two items in yellow that you'll see, the two lines that are,
Right.
those are new lines that we're proposing as the FinCom. So one of them down here is shared between you guys and
The
the
dispatch
police.
services,
So
yeah.
and that's what Pat said he was told would be an estimate number.
That's what they told me.
Right,
too.
right. So, you know,
That's a necessary.
well, exactly. Right. We're not gonna
Okay.
fight that one, obviously. This one, EMS medical supplies, is part of the line above it.
Right.
EMS services currently.
Correct.
We're just trying to get a better handle of it for our purposes, for tracking purposes, and hopefully for your purposes going forward.
Yeah.
Only because we know that that's a line that's increasing a lot, probably
Yeah, and
more
I-
than other lines.
And I'll be honest.
So we just kind of want to track it.
I'm a little behind the eight ball, but I'm gonna catch up
Yep.
because I'm gonna put in some time this weekend. I've gone through like between myself and Captain Davis. We've already gone through, and I believe we're gonna secure a different supplier because we can go through with a bigger municipality and go in under their money and save some money there.
Great.
Okay.
So
Great.
this is just me thinking from when I did it out in Albany, because anytime you can buy in bigger bulk.
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what we're trying to do there, and I think we can probably do a little better on those numbers.
Well, I think the supply number you'll notice is listed a couple of times.
Yeah, it should be. What do we?
This is salaries.
That's should be right around the next one.
Did I miss it?
I have line 515. If that helps.
Yeah,
There
it
you
is.
go. Yeah. So I think we can.
I give up.
I know. I don't know who gave you that. But
Yeah, so it's so medical equipment there is listed as 10 grand, and then on the other sheet, it is listed as I think 5.
right.
So we need to come to an agreement. I mean, what's that going to look like? Do we split the difference and go 7.5, or what do we do with it? And see, medical supplies is here at 18, and then it's listed on the other page at 15.
Right.
So we just kind of need to, clarify those.
Right. I'm
things.
going to be looking into that and see if
Okay.
we can tighten that one up a little bit.
Okay. All right.
And then the only other one I had a question on. I know he was going for a third and fourth medic. Where's the other page here? I don't, but things could change. I don't think I'll be doing that,
Okay.
but
Yeah, this was his.
his projection.
This was his staffing proposal was to, if I remember correctly, he had a captain that left, and so he was going to replace that person with a firefighter level, not a lieutenant or captain. Or maybe it was a
Lieutenant left.
Lieutenant left. Okay,
Right.
and I knew somebody had left.
Right. And so we did. We just replaced with a firefighter medic on Monday.
Yep.
So we're back to 2 full-time during the day, and it's mostly at night. We have the part-timers, and we're mostly running medic right now, which is good for us. But I haven't dug into this number because it doesn't seem right to me, adding up the fourth for that kind of money. I just don't see, so I'm gonna dig into it some more.
Okay,
So
well,
it makes
again, what
sense.
I was told is that each person works 48 hours a week.
Correct,
Okay.
yeah. So basically that comes down to,
So each person gets 8 hours of OT a week.
so it's probably about $26 an hour, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I think I have that somewhere. That was the upside down page.
When he was in here, he was indicating that there was a lot of pressure from the state now to run double medic as opposed to running PB.
That's the optimal, and like,
My feeling is if the state wants you to run double medic, let them.
right, there, right now, I think he was trying to be proactive, but I looking at the budget the way it is, I'm trying to
Yeah.
be fiscally sound, so that we're here next year, you know?
He's looking at $25 is what he had said.
Okay,
And then
So, yeah,
and then the 8
okay.
hours of overtime is at the
So
higher
that's
rate.
right.
So yeah, so maybe if you average it out, it works out to about 26.
Right. Yeah, that's a suggestion right now, and I think in a few years it will be that. It used to be that when I was a medic at South Shore Hospital, and we ran two medics with a Suburban. We were a flag car, when nobody had advanced around, we were the only advanced. So, but I just don't feel it right now, so I really have to.
Well, no pressure, but you get about 10 days.
I'll write that down.
No, that's, we will work with you.
And feel free to change these around if you see it, because you see it from your side.
Right.
So if there's a way these would be better, these sheets better organized, or different things under different categories a different way,
Exactly.
give us that information, because we
Please.
want as much information, whatever you give us, we're
Okay.
happy to hear about.
No, I will, and I'm, like I said, it's been a couple of years since I've done a budget, and when I was in Albany, but, it's all the same, you know?
Sure.
But I just don't wanna croak myself, so that next year when I come back, you'll be like, hell
Right.
no,
Right.
you know?
Sure.
But, I do have to take a look at this, and I have to scrub it and make myself feel comfortable with it, so I will do that this weekend. I only have 10 days.
No.
And then
Take as much time
the
as you
clerical, I can tell you, he's an asset to me. He does more than 19 hours.
I'm
a
sure he
week,
does. And again, we're not trying to say
No,
any of that.
but if I can move some of this and take one medic away and add some to him, so it balances out.
Yep.
So that number can stay.
Yep.
Then I might do that. And then, like I said, I'm
The
still
only
looking
thing
at.
the only thing we had discussed with Warren was maybe keeping it at 19 rather than 20, because then it becomes a benefits eligible. So
A position, right.
Right. So
Right.
if you do decide to spend some money on the clerical position, if we could keep it at 19
Right.
hours.
And, however, though, with the thought that if you really think that needs to be a 30-hour position,
Absolutely.
Right.
think about
Let us
that.
know.
That can
Yeah,
go
okay.
into that
Sure,
and talk
absolutely.
to
Yeah, I do
Liz
have to
and
think about that.
you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because like I said, and if
You
you're
know what you
giving
need.
us the information that we can put together, then
Right.
we can make
And that's
more
what I'm
informed
trying to do,
decisions.
because
But
I think the more you understand, the more
Sure,
it makes it easier to
definitely.
make a decision. And that's where I'm coming from. Right, this kid, honestly, I would have shot myself already if I didn't have him. He's a good kid, and he knows what he's doing, and, I would trust him with it. And, I wanted to look over the budget myself, because I don't know how Warren came up with some of the numbers he did, but I'm sure after this weekend I'll figure it out, and then,
Well, and if you have any questions, shoot me an email and I'll try to
Okay.
tell you, how we arrived at some of them last year, or
right.
if I can
Now,
remember.
this is a totally separate line item, correct? His
Correct.
salary?
Your
Okay. So I don't
salary's
have-
totally separate line.
Okay.
And that's, again, whatever you came up with from
Right, because,
discussions with the Board of Selectmen.
Right.
And we'll put in whatever,
whatever they come up with.
exactly, whatever
Okay.
they tell us to put in there.
And as far as some of the utilities, yeah, they're all,
Yeah, so generally speaking, we've got your salary, and then we've got obviously the staff salaries separately. Each line is separate, so you've got the professional personnel, and then you get the clerical, separate lines, and then,
Right.
under the services line, that's all your utilities and all that
Right.
stuff.
How was the call staffing then?
It's come back up.
Good.
I've done a little recruitment drive. I just hired 2 medics / firefighters on a part-time basis.
That's not call.
Huh?
Part-time's not call.
Well, they're called.
They come when you call
They
them?
come when I call them.
Cool.
So it's called. But I would like to have them part-time, but I just can't justify it right now. So.
But I think-
No, I think it's coming around a
I think
lot.
we're also, like, if you look at, 505, which is kind of a catch-all line, if you want to, and maybe you don't wanna do it this year, maybe this is a discussion for the future, if you wanna break that down even further to, like maybe building expenses, utilities versus, gauze pads, we can talk
Okay.
about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, probably that's a discussion for next year, but I think
Right.
we would be willing to look at, maybe breaking that down a little bit more. Barbara
Yeah,
would tell us,
it
but-
probably could be, to be honest. Yeah, it definitely could be. I could see a couple spots, yeah.
Yeah,
Uniforms, yeah, repair, yeah, we could break that down. Custodial, that's it.
so that's, you
Okay.
let us know what you wanna do and we'll work with you.
Okay. I really appreciate you guys letting me sit in and,
Oh,
cause every
Anytime.
town's different.
And it looks like we may not have buildings
doesn't look like we
tonight.
have building permits, so.
Well, they get snowed out, did they?
There's nothing out there.
They submitted mostly level. Again, another department of admin, they wanted to increase 2 hours a week. Everything else.
Zoning administrator, is that based on calls or is that?
Well, that's one of the questions we were
Yeah.
hoping to have. And I know wiring, wiring's pretty,
Based on calls.
is,
and-
right, it's based on permits and such, so I'm assuming, I don't know if zoning was because he thought there gonna be more enforcement activity because of the potential zoning bylaw changes or such. I don't know. That's just what they put in. I don't think there's anything in there.
So, what are we next week? Are we,
Next week, we're done with the
Department.
unless
right, unless one of them comes wants to
if they
come in.
want to come in, and we'll I'll put that out to them. If they want to come in and meet with us, they can meet with us next week. Otherwise, I think we take a look at, and I'll have Barbara come in, and we'll take a look at what we've got, the numbers that have been proposed, and where we stand. We know we're at 11 million, give or take, and we'll try to figure out.
We have warrant articles, most
We
of
have
the warrant.
well, by the warrant closes. Are we meeting Monday or Wednesday next week? Wednesday, right? Wednesday again.
Yeah.
Closes 26th?
28th is a Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah. So it's are we meeting 26th or 28th?
No, sorry, I meant we're meeting Wednesday.
Wednesday.
28th.
But I couldn't remember.
But the warrant
warrant
closes
articles.
right. The warrant closes the 26th, right? I
26th,
think
yeah.
right. So hopefully we'll have a complete list of warrant articles. It's supposed to close. Yeah, right. It closes on selectmen's meeting. So we should be in a pretty good shape to get a good first pass at the budget, which is what our agenda is for next week.
Okay.
Assuming that
And then as of right now, we're not meeting the following week, but we may have to add that in
right,
because of missed meetings.
correct.
And then we're scheduled for the 9th of April, which is a Monday.
If you say so.
That's what my calendar says.
Okay.
Actually, the,
Awesome.
yeah, the 9th and the 23rd.
Oh, good. That's a morning appointment.
Okay, well then that's all I think I had to discuss
you.
this evening. If there's no other discussion from anybody, take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
In favor?
I-
Aye. We're adjourned at 7:17. Thanks, Jim.